Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Devil's Digest postgame show following Arizona State's 71-62 loss against Stanford. My name is Justin Lacertosa. Alongside myself is publisher Hode Rubino. And Hode, this marks 3 straight losses for Arizona State. 5 out of the last 6 games they've lost. This is their second home loss of the season. Stanford, they've deployed the zone defense early on into the game, forced ASU to live or die by the 3, and early on they lived by the 3. Towards the tail end of the game, they died by the 3.
Yeah, Justin, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that Stanford was not the first team to really play zone defense in extensive periods of time against the Sun Devils, but I think it's fair to say that no team was able to run the zone defense as effectively as Stanford was against the Sun Devils. To your point, the three-point shooting, which is the classic zone buster, 6 of 19 from beyond the arc in the first half, only 2 of 13 in the second half. But another way to bust the zone is really to find that soft spot in the middle of the defense where Jose Perez, his game absolutely lends to that, whether it's his post-up game, the mid-range jumpers. And Stanford did a much better job really preventing Perez from being effective in that soft zone of the defense. And that was really just one hurdle that Arizona State was absolutely not able to overcome. And also think on defense, Stanford really had their way, especially in their paint. 32 of their points came in the paint. The 2 front court starters, Renault and Angel, combined between them for 27 rebounds. The Cardinal out-rebounded the Sun Devils by 12. They had 18 second chance points. I mean, you just look stat after stat, and it's really an ugly picture for Arizona State. But needless to say that I think the story of the game starts and ends with the zone. First half, Arizona State was able to handle it quite nicely. Didn't have a humongous first half, but definitely were able to have their way. But second half, the adjustments that Stanford made to their zone defense really did in the Sun Devils.
Yeah, and you mentioned the boatload of second chance points that Stanford converted upon. They won the rebounding battle 45-33. This is an Arizona State team that likes to get those rebounds to their guards, Frankie Collins, Jemiah Neal, Jose Perez. They like to get those rebounds and push the pace quickly in transition. That's been their bread and butter all season long. But tonight, Stanford's size was just too big of a factor for ASU to overcome.
You're right, Justin. It wasn't just the overall offensive rebound margin, but also Stanford having 12 offensive rebounds and really preventing ASU for, as you mentioned, going in transition, having their defense fuel the offense. And I know you guys heard it a million times, but this ASU team is just not capable of executing an effective half-court offense, and obviously against the zone, you have to execute it at some kind of level. And ASU definitely had their difficulties, especially in the second half. They were outscored in the last 7 minutes and 27 seconds, 17-2. I mean, that zone defense of Stanford just beyond frustrated Arizona State, down the stretch. And it was Stanford actually that really was getting in transition, really able to punish ASU for the mishaps on offense. And anytime they had a missed shot, one of the big men is right there to tip it in. To put it for a putback, and that is something that this ASU had just no answer for. So really, so many issues on defense, so many issues on offense, and it just seemed like just really snowballed in those last 7 plus minutes. And ASU right now, I think, by this loss, probably gave the blueprint to every Pac-12 team out there if they can execute a zone defense at the level Stanford can, because I don't think that's a given when you run down each and every program in this league. But nonetheless, I know that Bobby Hurley, starting tomorrow in that short hiatus they have between this game and the Cal game on Saturday, they're definitely going to work on how to handle zone defenses, because Cal knows pretty well that if they can run their own zone defense with any kind of success, they probably have a good shot of winning the game on Saturday. But even just for the future, I think that every opponent of Arizona State, they watch this game film, they're going to know exactly what to run at the Sun Devils. So this was really just a painful lesson on really how not to attack a zone defense, and maybe it's just a lesson that ASU can really turn into a valuable learning point for the rest of the Pac-12 play.
So Arizona State, as we stated before, 3rd straight lost their last 5 out of 6 games. kind of a different tide from what we saw at the beginning of Pac-12 play. But luckily for them, this is a Pac-12 conference that is very close. They're still 2 games back of first place in the Pac-12, surprisingly, as U of A is at first at 7-3. Arizona State is at 5-5 right now in the Pac-12. Hode, you mentioned that the blueprint was kind of laid out in this game on how to beat Arizona State. So if they want to potentially make a push at this NCAA tournament, what are some adjustments that they're going to have to make towards this tail end of the season to go on another run?
Well, again, they just have to really execute much better in the half-court offense. Even if your opponent is playing man-to-man, I mean, you just really have to be more patient with that. I mean, if ASU start out the game absolutely on fire on 3, caused Stanford to call out a timeout really early in the half. And I'm not saying that ASU maybe fell in love with the three-point shot too much, but again, against the zone, you definitely have a tendency just to shoot those open shots. But maybe it was some kind of false confidence that ASU had that obviously did not materialize in the second half. Again, 2 out of 13 from beyond the arc in the second half when the team is almost exclusively playing zone against you. That really is a recipe for disaster. But really on defense, I think that they can't let their offensive struggles really dictate how poorly they play on defense. And I think Bobby Hurley just said that yesterday when he was previewing the Stanford game. So as much as that message was drilled into the players, all the days leading up to the Stanford contest, sure enough, that did not happen. I think Bobby Hurley also brought up a very interesting point, saying that he needs to give his bench players more opportunities. I mean, we saw guys like Kamari Lands, Sean Phillips, really playing well, off the bench, and those are not defensive liabilities by any means. So I don't think that would be one aspect that would behoove Bobby Hurley not to play those players as many minutes. But if you want to play really high-intensity defense, which we've seen time and time again, ASU be very effective in that, you just need to have as many fresh bodies off the bench. So I think that against Cal, we're going to see probably the rotation widen a bit, and we'll see if that is one element that can really help ASU. In terms of getting to the NCAA tournament, I don't think it's going to be too harsh to state that ASU is not going to get a bid as an at-large. They have to win the Pac-12 tournament in order to give them the best chance to do that. They want to finish in the top 4 so they can get that bye in the first round. And it's not that teams that have not gotten the bye never won the Pac-12 tournament, but obviously it's just a much easier path. And to your point, Justin, like you said, the standings are still very, very bunched. Even after this loss, ASU can find itself at the end of the regular season in that top 4. But they definitely have issues to fix, as we mentioned. And again, I'm just curious about the rotation. Is a widened rotation something we're already going to see against Cal, or maybe something that's really going to manifest itself in the weeks to come? But there's definitely for Arizona State a lot to fix. That 4-0 start in Pac-12 just seems like a distant memory. Really, I think a lot of us thought that ASU was really a surprise team in the Pac-12 after those first 4 games. And they really came, I'm not going to say crashing down to earth, but definitely have not played good basketball at all since that start. And here at home, where they only lost 1 game, a wacky 4 technical fouls second half game to UCLA, and the Bruins only edged ASU in that game. It wasn't like they ran away with that. You really thought that the home court advantage is something that really worked very well for ASU and really was going to be one aspect that could help them bounce back against Stanford, which is on a juggernaut by any means. But Stanford really hit all the right buttons, especially on defense. So ASU really just has to find a way to combat that, because I'm not going to be surprised at all on Saturday night when you and I are sitting talking, whether it's a win or a loss by ASU, we're going to talk about a lot of zone defense that Cal threw at them. We'll just see what the results are going to be on Saturday, but on Thursday night, they definitely were not pretty.
There's one thing that's clear from this game, Hode. ASU's got a lot of work to do throughout the rest of the season. They'll be hosting Cal on Saturday. We'll see if they make any adjustments and potentially close out their homestand with a win. My name is Justin Lacertoso. Alongside myself is publisher Hode Rubino. To stay locked in on everything Arizona State sports related, go to DevilsDigest.com. Follow Devils Digest on Twitter at Devils Digest. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.